Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, September 30th, 2024. Today I'm going to recap the Major League Baseball from the weekend. And then we have two major regular season games today, and it's a doubleheader, and both games are going to be played, so we'll preview and pick that, and that's why we're starting with baseball. Then NFL, college football, WNBA playoffs, soccer, NASCAR, news and notes, which we have a big story to get to, and bet. We'll start with MLB. We'll go over the results from the weekend, and then we'll preview and pick the doubleheader for today. So Friday, Cubs over the Reds 1-0, Tigers over the White Sox 4-1 as they clinch, Nationals over the Phillies 9-1, so best bet lost. Pirates over the Yankees 4-2. Marlins over the Blue Jays 15-5. Astros over the Guardians 5-2. Rays over the Red Sox 2-1. Braves over the Royals 3-0. O's over the Twins 7-2. Dodgers over the Rockies 11-4. Brewers over the Mets 8-4. Rangers over the Angels 5-2. Padres over the Diamondbacks 5-3. Mariners over the A's 2-0. Cardinals over the Jets 6-3. And then Saturday, White Sox over the Tigers 4-0. Pirates over the Yankees 9-4. Cubs over the Reds 3-0. Marlins over the Blue Jays 8-1. Nats over the Phillies 6-3. Giants over the Cardinals 6-5. Rays over the Red Sox 7-2. Astros over the Guardians 4-3. Yankees clinch home field in the American League courtesy of the Guardians losing. O's over the Twins 9-2. Brewers over the Mets 6-0. Braves over the Royals 2-1. Dodgers over the Rockies 13-2. Padres over the Diamondbacks 5-0. Rangers over the Angels 9-8. Mariners over the A's 7-6-10 on a walk-off fielder's choice by Justin Turner as Leo Rivas scores the winning run. And then yesterday, Phillies over the Nationals 6-3, Yanks over the Pirates 6-4, Cards over the Giants 6-1, Red Sox over the Rays 3-1, Marlins over the Jays 3-1, Rangers over the Angels 8-0, O's over the Twins 6-2, White Sox over the Tigers 9-5. Astros Guardians was canceled because of weather, and neither team obviously needed the game because they were clinched. Dodgers over the Rockies 2-1, Mets over the Brewers 5-0, Mariners over the A's 6-4, D-backs over the Padres 11-2, Reds over the Cubs 3-0 and 10, and the Royals over the Braves 4-2. All right, doubleheader. Both games will be played today because the Braves lost. So this feels like 163 from back in the day, but it's not. So 110 on ESPN2, Mets, Braves, Tyler McGill and Spencer Schwellenbach. So this is obviously a big deal, especially in this area because of the Mets' involvement. So the Braves are minus 152, the Mets are plus 128. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Mets plus 1.5 is minus 164. Braves minus 1.5 is plus 136. I think it's an under game. I think it's going to be a lot of pressure on both teams. It's going to be a playoff-like game. But I'm going to go with the under. And then the 4 o'clock game on ESPN2. Luis Severino, Chris Sale. All right, so I think this will ultimately be a split with Chris Sale going in the second game and Schwellenbach going in the first. And I think the Mets know they need to win one game. I think they'll get one, and the Braves will get the other. So that means the Arizona Diamondbacks will not make the postseason a year after they make that magical World Series run. But if either team sweeps, they're the 5 seed, and if either team splits, they're the 6 seed. I think that's how it's going to work in the Diamondbacks. Or I don't know who has the tiebreaker. That's the good question. But Diamondbacks are 6 if they make it, I think. So, and the TV schedule was out at some point. Like, even on the TV. So I know one game's on ABC. Okay, so The Mets could be either or. Atlanta could only be 5 because Atlanta has a tiebreaker over the Mets, so that makes sense. So, if Atlanta wins one game, they're the 5 seed. If the Mets sweep, they're 5, and Arizona could only be 6, and Atlanta can only be 5. Okay, so that makes sense. So we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be an exciting day, nonetheless. All right, NFL. We'll recap the weekend's results, and we'll look ahead to the doubleheader tonight. Broncos over the Jets 10-9 in what was an ugly game at MetLife in the rain. Oof. Vikings over the Packers 31-29. Falcons over the Saints 26-24. Bucks over the Eagles 33-16. Bengals over the Panthers 34-24. Texans over the Jaguars 24-20. Colts over the Steelers 27-24. Bears over the Rams 24-18. Commanders over the Cardinals 42-14. 49ers over the Patriots 30-13. Raiders over the Browns 20-16. Chiefs over the Chargers 17-10. And the Ravens destroyed the Bills 35-10 on Sunday Night Football. All right, 2 games tonight, 7:30 ESPN Titans Dolphins. This is the Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, Dan Orlovsky group. My projections, Miami by 2.5, total 38.5, and it is Miami by 2.5, total 37.5. So my numbers are in line with this. Tyler Huntley starting for Miami. I think that's the right call. I'm going to go with the slight over for the game, but I'm willing to put the Dolphins on the money line with something else. And then 8:30 on ABC or 8:15 on ABC, Seahawks, Lions. My lines are Lions 3, total 38.5, and it's 4.5 and 46.5. That is such a really high total. I like the under. I don't like how Detroit's offenses looked these first couple of weeks, and I really don't trust Seattle offensively to do a lot. So I like under 46.5 in that game a lot. All right, now move on to college football. We'll go over the results from the weekend. So many big-time results that we must get to. We'll begin with Friday night. Number 7, Miami over Virginia Tech, 38-34. Controversy at the end of that game. Virginia Tech thought they had the game-winning touchdown. Initially, they called it incomplete. Then they called it a touchdown. Then they realized that the player that caught the ball bobbled it at the end. They ruled it incomplete. Miami won. So it was the right call. Miami should have won that game. Rutgers over Washington, 21-18. That's a game that Washington probably should have won. They missed a field goal late. Rutgers gets the win. And then Saturday, Kentucky upsets number 6 Ole Miss 20-17. Number 12 Michigan over Minnesota 27-24. Number 23 Kansas State over number 20 Oklahoma State 42-20. Number 22 BYU over Baylor 34-28. Indiana over Maryland 42-28. Nebraska over Purdue 28-10. UConn over Buffalo 47-3. BC over Western Kentucky 21-20. NC State over Northern Illinois 24-17. Syracuse over Holy Cross 42-14. Navy over UAB 41-18. Tulane over South Florida 45-10. James Madison over Ball State 63-7. Sam Houston over Texas State 40-39. Number 13 USC over Wisconsin 38-21. Number 16 Notre Dame over 15 Louisville 31-24. Number 20 Oklahoma over Auburn 27-21. I should say number 21 Oklahoma. Number 24 Texas A&M over Arkansas 21-17. Miami of Ohio over UMass 23-20 in overtime. Louisiana over Wake 41-38. TCU over Kansas 38-27. UNLV over Fresno State 59-14. Central Michigan over San Diego State 22-21. Georgia Southern over Georgia State 38-21. Marshall over Western Michigan 27-20. Ohio over Akron 30-20. Eastern Michigan over Kent State 52-33. Duke over North Carolina 21-20. East Carolina over UTSA 30-20. Number 1 Texas over Mississippi State 35-13. Colorado over UCF 48-21. Old Dominion over Bowling Green 30-27. FIU over Louisiana Tech 17-10. Tennessee Martin over Kennesaw State 24-14. FAU over Wagner 41-10. Number 17 Clemson over Stanford 40-14. Number 18 Iowa State over Houston 20-0. Yale Monroe over Troy 13-9. Charlotte over Rice 21-20. North Texas over Tulsa 52-20. Number 4, Alabama over number 2, Georgia 41-34. And what was the game of the year? Number 3, Ohio State over Michigan State 38-7. Number 9, Penn State over number 19, Illinois 21-7. Memphis over Middle Tennessee 24-7. Number 14, LSU over South Alabama 42-10. SMU over Florida State 42-16. Texas Tech over Cincinnati 44-41. New Mexico over New Mexico State 50-40. I was so close to going undefeated in the picks, and then App State Liberty got canceled because of the hurricane. So I just didn't replace it. Wyoming over Air Force 31-19. Number 25, Boise State over Washington State 45-24. Arizona over number 10, Utah 23-10. Number 8, Oregon over UCLA 34-14. And as we talked about, Liberty, App State canceled. All right, so there's your Week 5 results. Now move on to the WNBA playoffs. We'll go over the game 1s that took place yesterday. No game 2s until Tuesday. Liberty over the Aces, 87-77 to take a 1-0 series lead. Brown started 34 points. Kelsey Plume, 24 points. Sun over the Lynx, 73-70 as the Sun take game 1 on the road. Marina Mabry had 20. Nafisa Collier, 19-9-4. She couldn't do it all by herself again. So, very interesting day in the W. The Liberty strike the Demon for at least one day, and then the Sun get it done on the road over the Lynx. All right, now move on to soccer. We'll go over notable results from the weekend and look ahead to today's games. We'll start with the Pro League. Friday, Al Nassr over Al Wada 2-0. Al Ittihad over Al Khalij 4-1. Al Qadsiya over Al Ali 1-0. Saturday, Al Akhdud over Al Fateh 4-2. Al Uraba over Damak 1-0. Al Hilal over Al Khulud 4-2. And then yesterday, Al Faida over Al Raida 2-0. Al Shabab over Al Raid 2-1. Al Tawoon and Al Edifaq 1-1 draw. Premier League. Saturday, Newcastle Man City 1-1 draw. Arsenal Leicester 4-2. Brentford West Ham 1-1 draw. Chelsea over Brighton 4-2. Everton over Crystal Palace 2-1. Fulham over Nottingham Forest 1-0. Liverpool over Wolves 2-1. Yesterday, Ipswich Aston Villa 2-2 draw. And Tottenham over Man United 3-0. One game today, 3 o'clock. You have Bournemouth and Southampton. Bournemouth is -10. Southampton's 5-1. The draw's +360. I think Bournemouth is going to win. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at +120. MLS from Saturday. CF Montreal over San Jose 3-0. DC Columbus 2-2 draw. LAFC over Cincy 2-1. Miami Charlotte 1-1 draw. New England over Nashville 1-0. NYCFC over the Red Bulls 5-1. Philly Atlanta 1-1 draw. Austin Salt Lake 2-2 draw. Chicago Toronto 1-1 draw. Orlando over Dallas 3-1. Minnesota over Colorado 3-0. St. Louis over KC 3-1. Seattle over Houston 1-0. Vancouver Portland 1-1 draw. Women's Soccer League Friday, Washington over Angel City 2-1. Saturday, KC Gotham 1-1 draw. Utah over Louisville 1-0. Orlando over Houston 3-1. San Diego over Portland 2-0. And then yesterday, North Carolina over Chicago 3-1. And Bay FC over Seattle 1-0. Friday, Juarez over Puebla 3-2. Querétaro Necaxa 0-0 draw. Tigres Leon 2-2 draw. Tijuana over Mazatlan 1-0. Saturday, Toluca over Atlas 4-1. Cruz over Pachuca 4-2. Guadalajara Monterrey 1-1 draw. And Athletic San Luis over Santos 3-1. And then yesterday, UNAM over America 1-0. German Bundesliga Friday. Dortmund over Bochum 4-2. Saturday, Gladbach over Union Berlin 1-0. Heidenheim over Mainz 2-0. RP Leipzig over Augsburg 4-0. St. Pauli over Freiburg 3-0. Wolfsburg Stuttgart 2-2 draw. Bayern Leverkusen 1-1 draw. And then Sunday, Frankfurt over Holstein Kiel 4-2. And Bremen over Hoffenheim 4-3. La Liga Friday, Mallorca over Valladolid 2-1. Saturday, Getafe over Alaves 2-0. Real Leganes 1-1 draw. Real Sociedad over Valencia 3-0. Osasuna over Barcelona 4-2. Yesterday, Celta Vigo Girona 1-1 draw. Athletic Sevilla 1-1 draw. Betis over Espanyol 1-0. And Atletico Real Madrid 1-1 draw. One game today, 3 o'clock, is Villarreal and Las Palmas. Villarreal minus United, Las Palmas 6-1. The draw is 4-1. I think Villarreal is going to win. I'm going to go with the same pick as the EPL game. Over 3.5 goals at plus 124. French League 1. Friday, Auxerre over Brest 3-0. PSG over Rennes 3-1. Saturday, Lens Nice 0-0 draw. Lille over Le Havre AC 3-0. Monaco over Montpellier 2-1. And then yesterday, Lyon over Toulouse 2-1. Reims over Angers 3-1. Nantes Saint Etienne 2-2 draw. And Strasbourg over Marseille 1-0. USL from the weekend. Tampa Hartford was postponed because of the hurricane. El Paso over North Carolina 1-0. Indy over Miami 4-0. Pittsburgh Birmingham 1-1 draw. Louisville over Memphis 4-2. Colorado Loudoun 1-1 draw. Rhode Island over San Antonio 3-1. Detroit over Monterey Bay 2-0. Vegas over Phoenix 2-1. And then yesterday, Tulsa over Oakland 1-0. And Sacramento over New Mexico 4-0. ELC from the weekend. Friday, Plymouth over Luton 3-1. Saturday, Blackburn over QPR 2-0. Norwich City over Derby 3-2. Sheffield Wednesday over West Brom 3-2. Hull over Cardiff 4-1. Leeds over Coventry 3-0. Borough over Stoke 2-0. Millwall over Preston 3-1. Oxford United Burnley 0-0 draw. Portsmouth Sheffield United 0-0 draw. Watford over Sunderland 2-1. And then yesterday, Swansea Bristol City 1-1 draw. They have games tomorrow, ELC, so got to be reminded of that. Dutch Eredivisie. Friday, Heracles over Heerenveen 2-1. Saturday, PSV over Willem 2-0. Feyenoord NEC 1-1 draw. Sparta Fortuna 1-1 draw. And then yesterday, PCC Zwolle over Almere City 1-0. Go Ahead Eagles over FC Groningen 1-0. FC 20 over NAC Breda 1-0. Ajax over RKC Waldwick 2-0. And FC Utrecht over AC Alkmaar 2-1. And last but not least, the Scottish Premiership. Saturday, Aberdeen over Dundee 2-1. Hearts Ross County 1-1 draw. Kilmarnock Dundee United 3-3 draw. Motherwell over St. Mirren 2-1. Celtic over St. Johnstone 6-0. And then yesterday, Rangers over Hibernian 1-0. So there you have it for soccer. Now move on to NASCAR. We had 3 races from the weekend from Kansas. We'll start with the trucks. Your winner was Corey Heim. 2nd, Lane Riggs. 3rd, Christian X. 4th, Caden Honeycutt. 5th, Dawson Sutton. 6th, Tanner Gray. 7th, Raja Caruth. 8th, Bailey Curry. 9th, Grant Effinger. 10th, Connor Mozak. The rest: Chase Purdy, Nick Sanchez, Dean Thompson, Tanner Ankrum, Ty Majeski, Brett Holmes, Connor Daly, Taylor Gray, Nathan Bird, Brendan Queen, Jake Garcia, Ben Rhodes, Timmy Hill, Stuart Friesen, Matt Crafton, Justin Mondenick, Danny Dye, Spencer Boyd, Frankie Muniz, Lawless Allen, Jennifer Jo Cobb, Corey Day, Matt Mills, and Marco Andretti. All right, Xfinity. Your winner, Eric Almirola. 2nd, Cole Custer. 3rd, Chandler Smith. 4th, Connor Zilch. 5th, Sheldon Creed. 6th, Brandon Jones. 7th, Austin Hill. 8th, Shane Van Gisbergen. 9th, Jesse Love. 10th, Riley Herbst. The rest: Josh Williams, Parker Kligerman, Sam Meyer, Matt DiBenedetto, Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Sieg, AJ Allmendinger, Brendan Poole, Ryan Ellis, JJ Yaley, Parker Retzlaff, Sammy Smith, Jeb Burton, Kyle Sieg, Leyland Honeyman, Kyle Weatherman, Jeremy Clements, Blaine Perkins, Ryan Vargas, Parker Emmerling, Corey Heim, Joey Gase, Logan Brandon, Danny Dye, Dawson Cram, Justin Algier, Brad Perez, and Taylor Gray. And the Cup Series from Kansas. Your winner, Ross Chastain, 2nd. William Byron, 3rd. Martin Truex Jr., 4th. Ryan Blaney, 5th. Ty Gibbs, 6th. Alex Bowman, 7th. Chris Bell, 8th. Denny Hamlin, 9th. Chase Elliott, 10th. Zane Smith, the rest. Chris Buescher, Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Joey Logano, Corey LaJoie, Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson, Kyle Busch, Daniel Hemrick, Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski, Harrison Burton, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Riddick, Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Michael McDowell, John Hunter Nemechek, Kaz Grala, Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson, J.J. Yeley, and Josh Berry. So there you have it for the Cup Series and NASCAR. Now move on to the news and notes. We must start with the monster trade in the NBA that happened over the weekend, which I apologize in advance for not doing an emergency show because it involves my favorite team, the New York Knicks. Are set to acquire Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and the future first-round pick from Detroit. Crazy trade. I see the fit for the Knicks, but at the same time, I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns is built for New York and can handle that. Tom Thibodeau coached him in Minnesota. There are issues there, but I think that might have had to do more with D'Angelo Russell and Jimmy Butler than Towns himself. Meanwhile, I do like the return to Minnesota got. I mean, there's mixed opinions about the trade. I think the consensus is that the Minnesota Timberwolves were fleeced. But a lot of Knicks fans don't like the trade. But I get that because Karl Anthony Towns has had some bad playoff moments and come up short in the past. But that was before they had Anthony Edwards. And he's not even the best guy on the Knicks. He's been the second best player on the Knicks behind Jalen Brunson. So, I think it's an interesting trade for both teams. And I'm in the wait-and-see mode for both sides of how it is going to play out. The Knicks did need a shooting big man. And Minnesota did kind of need to make a change of some sort. And this trade also told you about the Knicks. If we can't extend you, we'll trade you. But RJ Barrett was a different circumstance. They extended him, then traded him in the OG Anunoby deal. So, that's the exception to the rule. But a very, very interesting trade. And now the Knicks have a big four of Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby. Which is wild. That's going to be four of their starting five. And then Mitchell Robinson, I guess, will be the starting center. And then at crunch time, you put in Josh Hart as your sixth man. And the Knicks did have a lot of guys on the team, and DiVincenzo was going to get moved to the bench anyway, and he's going to be he's going to be off the bench in Minnesota too. But the Knicks are going to miss him. They're going to miss DiVincenzo's shooting. But I think the presence of the other guys and the potential improvement of Miles McBride could offset that loss a little bit. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, I think Randall can have the same production as Karl Anthony Towns, and you get more help off your bench with DiVincenzo and his ability to shoot it for three. So I see it from both sides, but I need to see it play out. To me, it's a wait-and-see trade. I don't have an instant hot take right away from the trade. Julius Randle made an Instagram post about being traded from the Knicks. AJ Griffin is retiring from basketball, as we speculated. Yeah, the Karl Anthony Towns trade was just crazy when it came down on Friday night, Team USA won the President's Cup. So that is a big deal, with Keegan Bradley's point clinching the 10th straight win for the Americans. I'm sorry that we didn't even get to cover this on the show. But yeah, Team USA, you knew was probably going to win that. But yeah, update on the trade, though. It's not done yet. So that's pretty interesting, but it looks like it's going to get done. Mikal Bridges to wait for Knicks extension, as he is expected to seek long-term deal with the Knicks during 2025 offseason. Mitchell Robinson's Instagram story was interesting as he reacted to the trade. Number 1 overall pick in the hockey draft, Macklin Celebrini, was at the 49ers game, so that's fun. Oh, I was supposed to do goaltender rankings today's show. We'll do it tomorrow. So, White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf came out with a statement to describe their disastrous season. He said, failure, embarrassing, unacceptable. So he's taking accountability. He's doing the right thing. But now the question is Grady Seasmore stay or not? So, Tom Brady nearly joined the Chicago Bears as he reveals the Bears' stealth recruitment in 2020. So that's interesting. Justin Fields to remain the Steelers' starting quarterback, as he is expected to be Week 5 starter, even with Russell Wilson likely to be cleared. Yep, right call, even though they lost, but that wasn't his fault. They just got off to a slow start, and Steelers were due. They were due to lose. The Raiders are not shopping Devontae Adams, as trading Adams not currently an option despite Antonio Pierce's comments on making business decisions. The Bears had a meeting with their offensive coordinator as Caleb Williams among players to meet with Shane Waldron to express frustration. Doug Peterson deflects hot seat buzz, as he says it's strange to be asked about job status after a 1-9 record in its last 10 games. All right, so it looks like the Knicks trade's done. Karl Anthony Towns arrived at the Knicks practice facility, according to Ian Bagley of SNY. There's a lot of criticism at Jets head coach Robert Saleh after that awful loss to the Broncos, as Aaron Rodgers responds to Robert Saleh's comments about Jets avoiding false starts. Colts linebacker Zaire Franklin was not impressed after Najee Harris's middle finger gesture. Oof. Deion Sanders jokes that Shader will pull an Eli, influencing a potential NFL draft position, which is funny. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson has an ankle sprain, but could land on the IR. Not great for Green Bay. Rashid Rice got carted off with a knee injury. Speculation is that it's a torn ACL. Anthony Richardson did not return to the game against the Steelers. That's what makes that loss bad for Pittsburgh. The injury may be minor, as he can miss very little or no games after hip injury, as Joe Flacco came in and played well, which is very strange. And now there's going to be some Ewing theory talk about, Richardson. Jonathan Taylor sprains his ankle, mild version of high ankle sprain. Taysom Hill left the game against the Falcons with an abdomen injury. He scored a touchdown in that game. Broncos running back Tyler Beatty got stretched off the game after receiving medical attention on the sideline. That delayed the game. All right, so Cooper Kupp out until after Week 6, and Puka Nacua likely out until Week 8. So there's some injury timelines there. Cowboys defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence dealing with a foot injury that won't require surgery. He'll miss 4 to 8 weeks. That is absolutely brutal for the Cowboys defense. MetLife Stadium is just a bad stadium, period. They lost him and Parsons in that game. That season could go south quickly. And they're not going to use those injuries as excuses when, when Mike McCarthy's fired. Joe Mixon out for week 4 as the Texans are taking the safe route with running back, so he was out this week. Lane Johnson didn't play against the Bucs. Devontae's week to week with the hamstring injury. Chris Olave ended up playing despite the injury. Christian McCaffrey could return by early November, so that is huge news for the Niners. The Cardinals and Paul Goldschmidt will part ways as he's set to hit unrestricted free agency. So that's not surprising. He was really bad this year, Paul Goldschmidt. And I don't think he's going to get a lot of money. The Twins will not fire Rocco Baldelli despite second-half collapse. I understand why they don't, or they won't, because they made the playoffs with him. And, I mean, it's not like they were, as bad as, the Angels. I didn't want to say the White Sox because that's just they're just in a class of their own in terms of bad. But I thought about that the other day, whether they're going to fire Baldelli or not. And a lot of managers, or some managers, are going to be fired today and throughout the week because today's Black Monday. And we saw Bell get fired from the Reds a week before the season ended. Kenley Jansen disappointed teammates as multiple Red Sox players unhappy with Jensen's decision to go to California after being placed on the injured list. Yeah, that's not ideal. Anthony Rizzo broke 2 fingers against the Pirates on a hit by pitch, may still play in the playoffs. If he's bad in the playoffs and you sit him and you play Ben Rice or Oswaldo Cabrera, not DJ LeMahieu, absolutely not. He's hurt. I don't want to see him, especially if he's hurt. Oswaldo Cabrera or give Ben Rice another chance. And Rizzo was okay when he came back from the injured list, helping the Yankees get the division and whatnot. But I would go with Oswaldo or Ben Rice over Anthony Rizzo because of the broken fingers. Jaleel Okafor is back in the NBA as he signed a training camp deal with the Indiana Pacers. So that's interesting. Chris Middleton's not fully cleared as he's cleared for 5-on-5 action with training camp starting soon. So that's not ideal. And then Club World Cup cities got revealed for the 2025 Club World Cup. So it's Atlanta, Charlotte, Cincy, Vegas, or not Vegas, Atlanta, Charlotte, Cincy, LA, Miami, Nashville, East Rutherford, that's MetLife, Orlando, Philly, Seattle, and DC/Baltimore. So that would be Landover. So MetLife's getting Club World Cup games. So that's pretty cool. So there you have it for the news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. We don't have a lot of options now because baseball's over. And the football, there's only 2 games. And we have a couple of soccer too. This is such a hard one to pick. I'm just going to go with the under in Seahawks-Lions. I'm going to lay a 1/10 of a unit on it. So under 46.5 in Seahawks-Lions will be my best bet of the day. So there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, look at everything. Tomorrow we'll have a portfolio. I'll do goalie rankings, and we'll do a lot more. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.